Welcome back to Cord Cutting today, where I break down some of the biggest stories happening in the world of cord cutting and give you my opinion on them, including Netflix will be ending support for a lot of older streaming devices this week. We'll tell you what you need to know, how to find out if your device is impacted by this. Warner Brothers Discovery says the days of cheap streaming are over. We'll tell you what's happening over there. And the death of DVDs. We got a full breakdown of everything you need to know happening in the world of cord cutting on these stories and a whole lot more. First, though, if you want to find out more about these stories I talk about, put a link to each story in the show notes and in the first pinned comment if you prefer to read them there. Make sure you stay to the end of the video. We'll have our cord cutting Q&A where I answer one of your questions at the end of every one of these videos. If you want to leave a question for me to answer, find out at the end of the video how to do that. And lastly, before we get into the news, do me a big favor, hit that subscribe button, hit that thumbs up, let YouTube know you enjoy what we do here. It really does help us. And hopefully we help you break free from the high cost of TV, but still watch what you enjoy. With that said, let's dive into it. Netflix will be ending support this week for many older DVD players, smart TVs, Blu-ray players, game systems, older PlayStation Vita, handheld game consoles, and more are all losing support. Now, Netflix has been streaming for over 25 years now. It's kind of hard to believe. I think it's almost 26 years now they've been streaming online with their content. Well, that means a lot of the devices they earlier supported for streaming kind of dated now. And we saw this with other devices and other streaming services that they say, hey, we kind of get to a point with older hardware where the newer apps don't work on them. And if we want to be able to add new features, do new things, we can't do it on the older app, and having two completely different apps is very difficult for us. Now, thankfully, most of these devices are like 15 plus years old. So you're talking about a handful of very first generation smart TVs, very early streaming players that are losing access to this. Probably, to be honest with you, most of these are just HD at best. Some of these devices are only SD only with it for streaming. So for many people here, you're probably already off these devices. If not, the good news is there's a lot of cheap ones. So you can get $30 devices like the Roku Express for the standard one, the standard Fire TV stick, the new Walmart On 4K stream player. That's a $19.99 Google TV streaming player with 4K right there. So the good news is you can upgrade to some of these newer devices. We have a full list of all supported devices. But how do you find out if you're impacted? Well, very simple. On all these impacted devices, when you turn it on, launch Netflix, it will pop up a big warning to you that this week it will stop working. So if you don't see that warning, you're fine. And again, we're talking about the very old stream players. Some of these devices are 15 plus years old with this. So this isn't like brand new, Roku Ultras or anything. No, those are all continue to work. We're talking about devices that are 15 plus years old. Go back to, 2010 kind of time frame for some of these devices. All right, let's keep moving along. Warner Brothers Discovery has announced that they're going to launch in Europe early 2024. We knew that. That's not new, but they're kind of laying out some details. But in it, Warner Brothers head executive there, I'm not even going to try to pronounce his name, Zeiler. I apologize. My dyslexic self would probably butcher that. He's the president of International at Warner Brothers Discovery. Said that we see at least in the last 12 months, is that the era of streaming when we saw an over delivery of content underpriced at this low level is over. They're basically saying, hey, prices have gone up. Disney's basically said the same thing. This isn't new. Hey, we underpriced the content. When we first launched, we wanted everybody to sign up for our service, and to do that, we were willing to basically lose money at the service. Now, he says that Max became slightly profitable in the first half of 2023. That would make Max one of the very few streaming services out there that is profitable with it. Keep that in mind. Very few streaming services are profitable. Disney Plus is hoping late next year to become profitable. Paramount Plus reportedly either 2024, 2025 will become profitable. Peacock, we have absolutely no idea. AMC, we have no idea. There's a lot of other streaming services out there that are just not profitable. But Warner Brothers Discovery says they found a way to make it profitable, and that I think sports is going to become a big part of that. Right now, sports are free, but in early next year, you're going to have to start paying $9.99 if you want live TNT TBS game stream to Max. But leave me a comment. Let me know what you think of that. Does it shock you at all? Let me know. Now, we reported in yesterday's video that Blockbuster would stop selling DVDs early 2024. But Why? Well, Shelby did a great job over on the site breaking down all the factors that have been going into this. But it's very interesting. According to a 2021 report, the DVD sales as a part of the overall movie, television, streaming, rental, everything made up just 10 or 7% of all global home entertainment sales. That's pretty bad. And you can assume in 2023 it's probably even smaller. So in 2021, only 7% of entertainment worldwide sales were DVDs and Blu-rays. So that's a big picture of it. But it's also bigger. We asked our readers over here, how many people now rent or buy movies ever? Or do you just kind of say, hey, whatever's on Netflix, whatever's on Hulu, Amazon Prime, whatever it is you subscribe to, is that all you're happy with? The vast majority of our readers came out and told us that they only paid for or streaming services. They didn't buy individual movies. They didn't rent individual movies. They just watched what was ever on the streaming services. Last I checked it, over 66% of you that filled out our survey were the Cord Cutting Tech Support group. That gives you another big idea. Even as people still watch movies, they're watching it different. They're not buying movies. They're not renting movies. Now, I think Blu-rays would probably have a longer lifespan than DVDs. DVDs are just HD. Blu-rays, a lot of people like them because the high quality 4K, often higher quality than streaming. But we'll see how this all plays out. So question to you, question of the day. When was the last time you bought or rented an individual DVD? Either by downloading it through like Amazon or iTunes, or a physical DVD and Blu-ray. Leave me a comment, let me know. I want to hear from you when the last time you bought an individual DVD or individual movie, I should say, was. All right, good news for people in New York. WNET, the local PBS there in New York, is rolling out the NextG ASC 3.0 standard. If you have an antenna with a 3.0 tuner, you may want to rescan in New York. A new over-the-air ATSC 3.0 station is now live with that. All right, next up, the FCC is trying to crack down on robocalls. We're seeing a growing trend of robocalls targeting streamers claiming to be Netflix or whoever. Well, they are cracking down on that in partnership with other countries. So the FCC is going around to other countries that generate a lot of these robocalls. A lot of these calls come in over VIP internationally. They've partnered with Singapore to help regulate and crack down on robocalls across international lines. One of the big problems here with the FCC is, well, if the bad actor is in another country, there's only so much they can do. Yeah, we can bring certain diplomatic pressure on him, but now the FCC is going around to other countries to strike deals in order to partner with them to stop robocalls at the source. All right, let's keep moving along to the next story up of the day. Roku is launching a new update. They have a new 12.5 update. If you haven't got it, it will be up very soon here. And it includes the ability for you to go and watch a ton of content out there. Now with this, one of the things that they didn't really talk about is they have the new categories. They talk about this on the home screen for movies, television, and what's new. I think a lot of people assumed it would just promote the free stuff from the Roku channel, but that's not the case. They've actually partnered with Tubi, Xumo Play, and Pluto TV to now integrate it directly into the Roku home screen to make finding movies and television shows easier. A really great way to do that. A lot of content out there with this for you to discover. So if you have the Roku 12.5 update, scroll up above your apps where you have all the apps on the screen like this, and you're going to find new categories. In those categories, you're going to find free movies, free television shows from a whole host of different services. No longer do you need to go into Tubi, Crackle, Tubi, Crackle, Pluto TV, whatever ones they are. I'm trying to remember them all. And to find each service's movies. Now they're all in one spot in your Roku, which I really do like. Cool feature. Anybody try it out? Anybody like it? Leave me a comment, let me know. All right, Dish is continuing their lawsuit war. Now, Dish and Sling TV have sued late last week the BBC's BritBox streaming service over patent infringement. This comes as they're also suing Vidgo and Fubo. Now, Dish owns some patents that they say these services are infringing. They already won a case against NordicTrack's iFit streaming service and won a victory in that. And now they're going after a whole host of other companies, including Vidgo, including Fubo, and the BBC's BritBox service. Keep a close eye on this. Could be very interesting. According to reports, they're asking for a royalty payment system for the patents. Very common in this. But we'll see. Some services have come out and say, hey, they don't believe this is a valid patent. They don't feel that they're in any danger. We'll see if they're right or not. We'll keep a close eye on it. And last story before we get into the Q&A. This morning, when I'm recording this, yesterday for you, the CW announced that they're going to be expanding their free streaming service to include over 1,500 hours of additional movies and TV shows in partnership with FilmRise. Now, the CW app allows you to get a ton of free content. If you love CW programming, you should check out the CW app for free movies and televisions. Previously, it had been all just CW content. Now, it's going to include content from a wide range of partners thanks to FilmRise. So check that out if you haven't already. Story in the show notes down below if you want to learn more. All right, let's dive into the questions. Bill 1 asks, hey Luke, do you think eventually every channel around the world will be available worldwide so everyone can have access to everything? I think it would be great to watch something from Australia, the UK, or wherever it may be. Thanks, Bill. If you have a question you want me to answer at the end of these shows, leave a comment down below and start it with like question for Luke or question for the Cord Cutting Today show. And I'll pick a question each day or two, depending on how long they are, to answer here. But will content become available worldwide? And yes, I do think that's the growing trend. What we're seeing here increasingly in the past, where, for example, Disney would license some of its content to a station in Romania or the Philippines, Vietnam, China, or wherever. Instead, they're now taking their streaming service with Disney Plus and streaming it there. And we're seeing the flip side of that. For example, we just talked about BritBox, BBC, and ITV, I think it is, partner together to make a streaming service and put their content available in the US here on that. And I think increasingly that's what we're going to see. We're going to see these network owns. For example, we just talked about Max coming to Europe. Instead of licensing its content to other services in those countries or other TV channels, it's going to keep those content but stream it directly from them around the world. I think that will become more and more common to the point where, yeah, someday all the stuff on BBC will be available on something like BritBox. Content from Australia could be available either in partnership with somebody or in their own streaming service. Now the issue here is how much of that's going to cost you, how long is that going to take? But I do think this idea of, hey, there's this great new show but it's only available in the UK is going to go away. Increasingly, all shows will be just available worldwide, either through purchase individually through something like Amazon or iTunes, or online through a streaming service like BritBox, for example. But I do think that's where we're going. Maybe 5 years ago. The US is definitely farther ahead than a lot of countries in streaming, but streaming is catching up very rapidly, especially in Europe, especially in Australia. We're seeing a rapid growth of streaming like we saw with cord cutting about 3 or 4 years ago. Now that's coming there. So they still have a little catching up to do, especially in Canada. The cable industries there are still very dominant compared to what they are in the United States. We'll see how it plays out. Well, that's it for today. I hope you have a fantastic day. Don't forget to leave me a question. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I'll be back again real soon.